Hi everyone, my name is Brian and I'm an educator at BigByte Education. Today I'm going to be running you through an English lesson created on the BenQ smartboard using EZWrite 6 and some of its AI tools. This lesson is going to be split into 3 parts. There'll be a pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading. Along the way, I'll help call out some of the AI tools I use to make the lesson more engaging. In a normal lesson, I would use one of the selected texts from our curriculum, but for today's example, I created my own using the Gemini Storybook Creator. This is going to be really helpful if your school doesn't have a ready-made text or if you want to make something a little bit more customized for your class. For example, today, I'm using this one. It's called Willow's Pond Adventure, and the purpose is to help review some of the themes we've been learning about animals and their habitats. Before we jump into the actual reading, I want to do some pre-reading activities to help trigger and jog the kids' memory about their vocabulary and the theme. So like I said, all of these are going to be about the animals and their habitats. The first activity I have is a kind of scavenger hunt. What the kids are going to be doing is using the flashlight tool from the EZWrite 6 app and then looking for the different animals I have hidden around the board. All these images were made using the AI background remover tool. If you look in the toolbox, it's going to be this option. What I've done is I've actually turned down the visibility so it's completely black. I'll call a student up, they get to move the flashlight tool around the board until they land on an animal. In this case, we found a flower, so the student or the class will help say flower at the same time. We'll keep going until the students can uncover all the words. This next activity is a combination of vocabulary and some of the grammar we've been practicing. What the students will be doing is they'll be reading the sentences and then actually dragging the pictures of the animals to where they need to go based on the sentence. I'd call on a student, we'd read the sentence, the frog is on a lily pad. First, they would have to identify which animal is the frog. Then they have to put it into the right place. They would put it here because it tells them it needs to go on their lily pad. Then the next student would come up and do the next sentence. And then we would repeat until all the animals are in their correct places. So now that we've reviewed all of our animal vocabulary and some of the context, we're ready to begin the actual reading. So what happens a lot with a reading lesson is that either the teacher reads or the student reads and it gets a little bit too repetitive. So what I like to do is use one of the functions in the board to make it more interesting. In the toolbox, there's a wheel tool, and I have a few different options preset. The first one I like to call Who Will Read, and I have 6 different options. A volunteer will spin the wheel for us, and wherever it lands, that person has to read. In this case, the whole class. What I like to do is have them read 1 page at a time. So after the first page, the next person can come up, they'll get to use the wheel, and then they can see who's going to read next. This adds a little bit more excitement and keeps the kids engaged. Some variations on this activity might be, instead of who will read, how will we read? Loudly, quietly, quickly, slowly. Another alternative is to figure out how many sentences a student will have to read. Whatever number they land on is how many sentences they need to read starting from the first page. So in this case, the student would have to read 5. Starting from Willow loved, they would keep going until they read 5 sentences, and then I would pick a new student to see how many sentences they have to read. These are just some options that I have that worked with my class, but feel free to use your own creativity to figure out what suits your students the best too. So after we've completed the reading, it's time to do some post-reading comprehension. These activities are designed to help reinforce what the students have just read and also practice the vocabulary and understanding of the material. What the students have to do is read the sentence and figure out which sentence matches the picture. Using a student volunteer, we would come up. They can start here. This sentence, under a big rock, Willow saw something slow. After they think they know the answer, they'll actually drag the sentence to the matching box. We'll continue until all the sentences have been matched. This post-reading activity combines listening as well as their reading comprehension. What I've done was I've taken a sentence or sentences from the story and then I covered up some of the words. What we'll be using is the AI text-to-speech tool. In this sentence, there's 2 words that are covered up. What I would do is I would play the audio for the students and they're going to have to listen carefully to the word that's being covered. Let's see if we can figure it out.
Willow loved sunny days.
So if they didn't hear it the first time, we can do it a second time.
Willow loved sunny days.
And then after the students understand what's happening, we can actually reveal to see what the answer was. This activity really reinforces listening and reading comprehension and lets the teacher focus on specific parts of the text that they really want to practice. And that concludes the reading lesson. I hope these ideas inspire you to try some different things in your classroom using these tools as well.